Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is Friday, March 26, 2020, and we have some big astrology going on today, for sure. So let's get into it. All right, number one, today we have the Mars North Node conjunction coming exact. I've been talking about this for weeks. This is a major activation in terms of bringing our destinies into contact with our lives, aligning our souls with where the universe is trying to pull us and take us next in our journey through life. And the North Node rules our destiny, where we're going, the direction of our soul path, where our energy is pulling, where the energies are pulling us individually and collectively. And Mars rules energy, willpower, dynamism, war, explosive tendencies, action, passion, all of those things. So right now we are having a major energy activating infusion of all of the Mars qualities with the destiny point for all of us individually and collectively. So it's like we've been being pulled back in the slingshot, and now we're getting let go and flung directly at the target that is each of our collective and individual soul paths, based on the karma that we've accumulated and released and cleared at this point in time. So that's what we're doing, and that's the energetic for today. And I am definitely expecting with today's activation that we all begin to see some really fast-paced things happening in our lives to align us with what's right for us at this point in time. So that is the first thing that I want to talk about today, and I'll talk about it in context of the Sabian symbols and the other planets involved as I go through this report. I'm going to apologize in advance because it's raining today, and therefore my beautiful, lovely little children cannot go out and play while I make my video. So they're watching TV behind me, and I hope it's not too distracting. So full disclosure, sorry about all of the distractions going on behind me, but it's raining, so not too much I can really do about it. Anyways, let's proceed with the video. So what else is important today? And this is going to be my introduction into the Sabians for today. We have the Sun still conjunct Venus, or actually Venus is conjunct the Sun, and that's happening. It started yesterday at 6 degrees of Aries, a square brightly lighted on one side, and now it's happening. They've moved to 7 degrees of Aries. A man successfully expressing himself in two realms at once. In the context of what's going on in the world and the play that we see unfolding in front of us today, and by today I mean like in today's day and age type day, I'm perceiving this as the very obvious huge polarity that we're experiencing right now, as we are currently living in two worlds, actually. The old world, coming out the remnants of the age of Pisces, and the new energies that are incoming now from the age of Aquarius, second Renaissance, the new world that we are rapidly approaching and stepping into each and every day more and more, and will be fully entering with a new moon in Aries on April 11th. So a man successfully expressing himself in two realms at once. And this is also the degree of Venus. Remember, there's still a Venus-Sun exact conjunction going on. And that is about beauty, love, relationships, wealth, luxury, comfort, art of all forms, and just experiencing all of the splendors of life that really is what the Venus Sun conjunction wants, or it's what it activates in all of us, and it's what it resonates, and it's the light code that it activates on the planet and in all of us as well. And so that is something that is a really beautiful energy and is really helping us as we have this Mars North Node conjunction. Because remember, the Sun and Venus right now are conjuncting in Aries. And Aries is ruled by Mars. And Mars is the planet that's conjuncting the North Node and making the fireworks happen to light up our destinies collectively. This is significant, and we know that the degree that Venus and the Sun in Aries are expressing today is a man successfully expressing himself in two realms at once. This, to me, like I said, this is people very polarized. This is, one half of the people still very firmly grounded in what remains of the old world. And that's why I talk about a lot of the projection and a lot of the cognitive dissonance. Because for a lot of people who are very ingrained in the dogma of their belief systems, the South Node in Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, and we'll also talk about Jupiter today, it's really difficult to be open to accepting all of the new information that's going to come in and totally change entire paradigms and worlds. So there's a lot of polarization going on today, and I think that mainly, and the portion of the population that are still very much rooted in their karma and in karmic law and in their dogmatic ingrained belief systems that have come down through this entire age of Pisces, that part of the population could become very defensive and protective and of their feelings during this time. And that, and because the South Node right now is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is at the degree a big bear sitting down, raising all its paws, that's like instinctual ego defense. That's like the deepest like instincts. It's not motivated by higher consciousness or like soul understanding or any of that. It's animalistic, acting out instinctually. And in relation to the South Node, it's kind of like I could see how conflict, Mars, battle, war with the North Node could potentially develop over the next few, as we transition through this period, because it's kind of like a war of words and a war of ideas. That's why yesterday with the square, or 2 days ago, the square from Mercury to Mars, and Mercury was at this degree of a weapon used in many battles put to rest in a museum. That was asking us to change and stop and not use words as weapons. However, if we did not and weren't able to process that message properly, then I could see how Mars at the North Node and the fact that the Sun and Venus are discharging this degree of a man successfully expressing himself in two realms at once could create potential. And remember, Mercury is still in square to this conjunction that's happening. And the Sun and Venus are in Aries, so that's speaking directly to Mars. A man successfully express himself two realms at once. I could see how the polarization of the people, those living still in the old world and those living in the old world and stepping into the new world, I could see how it could create conflict generally based on ideologies and beliefs and ideas. And that's kind of what we want to be looking out for as we transition through this next period that is activated by this North Node Mars super conjunction that's happening today. And to make it even more intense, we're also moving towards the full moon cycle, which is a loaded full moon. It's so crazy that all this is happening in the last 2 weeks, or in the last few weeks of the lunar year. Like, this is the end of the end of the end of the Pisces age, the Pisces cycle. We're in the balsamic time of year. We had all of that Pisces energy for all of those planets in Pisces for the new moon. We're stepping from one world to another, and we have this loaded full moon coming up. Full moons are about releasing, again, all of this releasing energy to step into the new world. But for now, for today, and for this cycle of Mars in the North Node, the energy of the Sun and Venus in Aries, which are impacting Mars in Gemini, are speaking to the polarity and the division and the extreme dichotomy in the populace right now. And it's based in thoughts and beliefs, Gemini and Sagittarius. We need to release beliefs, South Node Sagittarius, and embrace new information and lots of it, Gemini. So that is a pretty big deal. Now, I want to move on for just a second and go back to talking about the conjunction between between Mars and the North Node today. And I want to talk about the Sabians for that. And that is happening at 14 degrees of Gemini. This is a very interesting degree pairing, because we're talking about the polarity also, because the South Node is directly opposite Mars and the North Node. It's always opposite the North Node, but it's directly opposite Mars today in Sagittarius. So both Gemini and Sagittarius, those themes are very active today. So the degree, and this is the degree that the North Node has been at. So I've been talking about this regularly, but I'm just going to say it again. The degree of 14 Gemini, 2 people far apart, sit in telepathic communication. Shiloh, can you please turn it down just a little bit? Thank you. 2 people far apart sit in telepathic communication. So this is really about, I wrote, a joining of human spiritual will and consciousness through time and space. Distance is irrelevant, to propel us towards our collective destiny. Okay? That is our collective destiny. The North Node. 2 people far apart throughout time and space sit in telepathic communication. This also, it's like we have the opportunity to connect to our ancestors, to our entire human consciousness experience embodied by everyone throughout time and space, and bring that information and that wisdom, Gemini and Sagittarius, into us on a soul and spiritual level. And then we can embody that information, and we can all tap into the collective knowledge and know how to proceed moving forward, the North Node. And we do it with fervor, Mars, passionately. With this degree, it gives us a huge opportunity to come together as a spiritual or a collective tribe in consciousness, sort of like the old Native American prophecies about how at the end of the world and at the beginning of the new world, there would be a tribe of rainbow children that from all races and languages and ages that come together and are on the same spiritual path, essentially. And I feel like that has a lot to do with the archetype of the age of Aquarius, and I feel like that has a lot to do with where we're going with this degree, and Mars activating this degree, making it explode, making it super active and putting tons of energy behind it. And remember, Mars is also opposing the South Node, and the South Node is at the pyramids and the Sphinx. And to me, whenever I see a reference to ancient Egypt in symbolism or symbology, I always think about the Hermetic teachings and how ancient Egypt was symbolic of the enslavement of the soul by the ego or the thought masters, making it enslaving the the inner nature and the spirit and the soul to the wants and desires of the ego. And that's a lot what we've been dealing with through the age of Pisces and coming out of this time and into this era, into the age of Aquarius, which is really all about individual uniqueness and freedom, but in terms of how we contribute that to the greater good and to the whole. Where do we fit individually and uniquely into a whole to make it as functionable as possible, to make it as efficient and as good as possible? That's what we're moving into. So with those degrees being active, please with the plastic toys. So with those degrees being active, we do have, that is what we're moving towards. And that makes sense in terms of the age of Aquarius also, because I've said and I've heard a lot of astrologers say that there should be some type of evolution in like human telepathic communication abilities over this next 2,000 years as we're in the age of Aquarius, because it's so mind and frequency oriented that telepathy should become a growing and more commonly understood, experienced, and used sense as we move through the age of Aquarius. So, big stuff today. Mercury conjunct the North Node, moving us towards a more conscious understanding collectively and the will and the spirit to get there. Also opening the potential for a lot of conflict based on over defensive egos of instinctual feelings and behaviors and beliefs, and an unwillingness to accept and to adapt cognitive dissonance. That is, and that can create a lot of conflict because we still have Mercury in square to this. Okay, and one more thing I want to say before I move on, and this is about the Venus and the Sun conjunction today, is they are also in very close proximity to Chiron. They are only 2 degrees off right now. And Chiron is at a crystal gazer degree. And Chiron rules wealth, money, financial markets, accumulated resources, stuff like that. And so with the Sun-Venus conjunction today, close to Chiron, and Uranus and Taurus, who ruled by Venus, I would not be surprised at all today or over the next couple of days through the weekend if there are some really big financial surprises that happen in terms of money, markets, just big, especially rises in markets and money and financial gains over the next few days, or just big surprises generally about that type of stuff. Just keep an eye out for it. And I'll talk about that more as Venus and the Sun approach Chiron. And actually, it's really crazy because they are exactly conjunct Chiron for the full moon. So with the full moon coming up, and I'll say it now and I'll say it about 100 more times, expect some type of big disclosures or information revealed about things that have been going on in financial markets. Unexpected things, shocks and surprises, stuff that no one knew was going on and they didn't expect. I would expect that throughout this full moon cycle, but I'll talk about that more in a little while because I'm already at like 20 minutes and I still have more to say. So we're going to turn up the heat just a little bit more because, of course, the moon is in Virgo today, which means that it is in another mutable sign. So that means that it's forming oppositions and squares to the planets that are implicated today in the Gemini, the Mars North Node conjunction in Gemini. Another thing that I want to say, which I haven't said yet, is the position of Mercury is very, very important today because Mercury rules Gemini and all the action with the North Node and Mars is happening in Gemini. And so the position of Mercury today for this exact conjunction is very important. And the degree of Mercury, listen to this. It's absolutely insane. I could just come out here and make a 1-minute video and say, spend time by yourself, open to divine messages, look for messages everywhere, and use those messages to act and to make decisions for the future progress of your life. Because Mercury today, for this conjunction, which is very important, in a quiet moment, a creative individual experiences the flow of inspiration. Yep, I said it. That's where Mercury is. And Mercury's still in square. For 2 degrees off, Mercury's still in square to Mars and the nodes. So Mercury's message is very important. It's actually what Mars and the North Node are telling us we have to do in order to get that telepathic communication from 2 people far apart. We need to have a quiet moment and experience the flow of inspiration. And where is Saturn? Because let's not forget, Gemini is an air sign, 14 Gemini, Saturn's at 11 Aquarius. That's only a 3-degree orb, and Saturn's about to move to 12 Aquarius tomorrow, and that's even closer. So Saturn is stabilizing this whole structure. And where is Saturn? During a silent hour, a man receives a new inspiration which may change his life. That is basically verbatim the degree of Mercury today. So we have 2 significant planets telling us to quiet down, to look for messages everywhere. Animal messages, overheard conversations, songs, information that comes across your path, things that you something that intuition that just comes to you. This is our roadmap right now. I've been saying it for a while now. The energetics are being very clear. We are being blessed with very, 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 very clear guidance and information about how to do this transition to the new world, about how to take advantage of the opportunities, and about how to recreate our lives out of the destruction of what we've all experienced over the past year and what we're not done experiencing yet. We are not done with the crazy. Things are going to intensify and they're going to get, potentially more difficult if that's the way that we choose to perceive challenges as difficult. Challenges are challenges, but we're being taught now how to deal with the coming challenges, and that is all about being open and receptive to divine guidance and tuning in to our ability to connect to source and to our higher self, and then not only receive that inspiration and those messages, but to know what to do with it is really the thing. Sorry, I moved my thing to try to get the TV out of the background because it's distracting me. Okay, so let's see. Oh yes, I'm talking about the moon now. So now we have the moon in Virgo coming into a square with Mars and the North Node and an opposition with Mercury. All of these planets super important in the energetics and the themes of today. So, but the moon, remember, this is our emotions and this is how we're feeling. And so this is potentially, just to be aware, unsettled thoughts and emotions resulting from what this triggers and the changes that it triggers and the conflicts that it triggers. Because remember, while we do have the beautiful Mars or the beautiful Venus Sun conjunction today, really adding, peace and love and luxury and wealth and beauty and comfort to things, but we still have a lot of conflict and tension going on, and that has to do with thoughts, beliefs, information, communication, and people being very tied to their dogmatic ways of thinking and not wanting to open and adapt to the new changes that are coming. So there's a potential emotionally just to be at odds, with ourselves, our own thoughts and actions, or thoughts and feelings. Moon opposite Mercury, thoughts and feelings about what's going on, about what's happened, and just generally some emotional tension about the way things are unfolding and about what's occurred as a result of this and about what's happening and what's going on. So the moon is in Virgo, it's there, and we just need to know, the moon moves signs quickly and this will pass. But if you're experiencing emotional turmoil, angst, frustration, tension, pent up, just feeling bad generally, it probably has quite a bit to do with the square to this Mars conjunct the North Node and opposition to Mercury, who is playing a major role in the Mars North Node. And again, the way that Mercury wants us to handle this, and Mercury's our teacher in this, is to find a quiet moment and experience the flow of inspiration. Get in touch with what brings you inspiration and do that. And then use the messages that you receive to truly guide the nature of your life as we move through these transitions that are coming. Lastly, for today, I want to say, and here I go talking about Vulcan again. It's like so random, but it's a thing, and I have to say it. Vulcan is at 11 Aries today, while the North Node and Mars are conjoining. And the Sabian symbol for 11 Aries is the ruler of a nation. This to me, and I'm just saying this because of how crazy everything is in our political environment today. I'm saying watch politics, and specifically like presidents and rulers like maybe Biden, for changes in terms of like future progress and plans, and also information regarding the president and hidden truths about the election might possibly be revealed during this time, or something could happen with the president. Just saying, with Vulcan there, Vulcan erupts things. And Mars is with the North Node demanding truth. Like, it's like we're done with, like, Mars is not having the bull anymore. That the South Node has been repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and trying to just drive into us and drive into us. Mars is like, no. There's new information. I have a fresh way of looking at things. I have a new perspective, and I'm not buying it anymore. I'm not taking it anymore. And then with Vulcan there at the president of a nation, it's like, poof. So watch presidents today. And on that note, also I'm going to say Russia as well, and potentially developments with Putin because of the Jupiter placement, a big bear sitting down raising all of its paws. This degree specifically has a tendency to reference Russia. So those are two things that I wanted to throw in there, because with Vulcan at the degree, a president or the ruler of a nation, and Mars at the North Node, that just makes me think that over this next Mars North Node cycle, 2.5 years, 2 years. And it's just interesting timing right before the full moon. Just keep an eye on the president and presidents, rulers generally, and let's see if anything develops along those lines, because truth is coming out. We can't move forward into the age of Aquarius operating under the same paradigm, beliefs, and understandings that we've had for the past 2,000 plus years that are not in alignment with the genuine truths of this reality and how it functions. And remember, Neptune is now at a man bringing down the new law from Sinai. So there's a new law coming to Earth. It's the divine law. And now universe wants us to start implementing that, the true divine law of this reality here on Earth as we move through into the age of Aquarius. So that's what I got today. It's a big day. Everything from here on out should start moving very quickly. I expect fast unfolding developments. I expect a busy, very interesting month. Pay attention and beware of extreme polarity and dichotomy in people and populations generally as we move from this world into the next world. And yeah, we have the ability though to connect on a spiritual level and a consciousness level and a soul level to those who are on the same frequency as us, and collectively work as individuals in the true Aquarian nature of each cultivating ourselves to in our gifts and our talents to the best potential, and then contributing them to the whole in order to make the whole new world function in a beautiful and natural and organic way filled with humans fulfilling their divine nature and soul purpose. So today is a major activation day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it ran a little long. I'm sorry if there were any distractions, but I hope you got what you needed out of it. I hope I explained the nature of the energetics today sufficiently enough. And I look forward to being back to talk about the energetics tomorrow and the upcoming full moon. Oh my goodness, it is right around the corner. It is all happening now. Get excited, embrace your potential, find your inspiration, and follow your messages, and try to avoid cognitive dissonance and having verbal mental conflicts and battles with people. All right, guys, have a good day. Thank you for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and I'll see you tomorrow. See ya. Thank you. Bye.